Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about how to register your business in California. There's lots of ways we can go about this, so we're going to break it down step by step and give you the how to make sure that you're doing it right, and more importantly that you understand what registering your business really is. If you're new here, my name is Taylor Darcy from Think Legal, where I help you create the business of your dreams. So welcome. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button and the bell icon to remember to get notified when I go live. I do go live every weekday, Monday through Friday, at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to help you with your business legal needs. Welcome. I'm happy you're here, and as always, there seems to be a technological glitch, so I apologize. So the number one thing that you need to know is that registering your business in California, there's several things that you need to know. And this is the first one. The first one is this, is that if you're registering as what's called a sole proprietor, as a DBA, or doing business as, that is something that you're going to want to make sure that you're getting the right entity. A lot of people start with the sole proprietor, and there's nothing wrong with it. As an attorney, I typically recommend an LLC just as a safer choice for most small businesses. Not all, but most. You really want to know what a DBA is. A DBA is doing business as. If for instance, in your name, if your name is John Smith and you're doing Billy Bob's Plumbing, just again, if using it as a for instance, then you'll need to file a DBA. If you're doing John Smith Plumbing, not Billy Bob Plumbing, then you don't need a DBA because it's your name. So you don't have to worry about that as far as for DBA purposes. So that's number one. You have to know that a DBA also it's also a fictitious business name statement, and it does not protect you in any way, shape, or form. All it does is put the public on notice that says that you are going to be doing business as something other than your name. And that brings me to the process for a DBA. So the very first thing that you're going to have to do is pick a name that hasn't already been picked. You can't just pick somebody else's name. And you have to file the fictitious business name statement with the county recorder assessor office. Then from there, you have to find a legal newspaper to have it published in, so that if there's an objection, people can object to it. That has to run for a solid 4 weeks. Once that's complete, then you have to file that you've completed that work back with the county recorder's office, and then you can do business in that name. Next, you're going to want to have a business license or a tax certificate, depending on your local jurisdiction. That is based on the city that you live in. Some cities require them, some don't, most do. Also, if you're in the unincorporated areas, you may not need a business license either. It really depends on your particular business, where it's located, and what laws you're subject to. So that's number one. That's what a DBA is. That's how you do it. It's a fairly straightforward process, although you have to be very careful that you're dotting your T's, crossing your I's. It's about $150 to $200 process, depending on who you're using for the legal ad that you have to place. That you have to do it. It's not an option for you not to do it. So you want to keep that in mind, that your choices as far as that's concerned is that it's going to be about $150 to $200, depending on that. It could be less, and this is another now, also something to keep in mind is that with a DBA, there is no extra tax that there is with a limited liability company or LLC. We'll talk about that in just a sec. So your next option is you would register an LLC or a corporation. And in that instance, it's not really registering, it's filing your articles of either incorporation for a corporation or articles of organization for an LLC, and that gives you some liability protection. So it protects your personal assets. We're not going to go into a ton of detail regarding what an LLC is. There's lots of other videos on my channel that talk about those, but for today's purpose, we're just talking about that's what an LLC is, or a corporation. Now, You file those articles with the Secretary of State. And for instance, with the Secretary of State, to file the LLC articles of organization, it is $70 plus $5 for certification. So for a total of $75. Very reasonable. You can go on the Secretary of State website and do it yourself. It's really simple. You're just going to fill in the business name. You want to do a business name search at the Secretary of State website before you file, because if it comes back rejected, you have to pay the fee again. So you want to make sure that you're not trying to take somebody else's name, and it's available on the Secretary of State website. So you file your articles of organization if it's an LLC, or your articles of incorporation if it's a corporation, with the Secretary of State. And that can take anywhere between 3 days to 3 weeks, depending on how it's done, who's doing it, and whether it's done online, and just the busyness of the Secretary of State or California, the busyness of the Secretary of State regarding whether you do it online or whether you do it via mail, that type of thing. So keep that in mind, that it can take technically it could take as long as it takes, like up to a month if you do it at the wrong time. It just depends on how long it takes them. Once you get your articles back from the Secretary of State, then you can begin business and getting your business license and your other various required documents finished. For the business, LLC, or corporation, you're going to want to get your EIN, as well as if you're going to file for the S Corp tax designation, you're going to want to do that with the IRS. Then you're going to want to make sure that if you're doing an LLC, that you get an operating agreement that you're going to need an attorney for. With the corporation, you're going to get the bylaws, resolutions, incorporator letter, any shareholder agreement, any type of buy-sell agreement, any type of just legal documents that you're going to need to run your business as a corporation. You're going to want to have that ready or have that done for you as well. You don't have to hire an attorney. You should hire an attorney. It's just easier and better. And less expensive in the long run. This is how you do it if you don't hire an attorney. So registering a business is kind of a vague term in that respect. Each one requires different steps to do depending on what your goals are. You don't need a separate EIN if you're an individual business owner, a sole proprietor. You do still need that business license. Now, if you bring on employees, then you will need an EIN number for your sole proprietor. And that's something that you can discuss, that you can get at the IRS website pretty simply, pretty easily. Not too much work on that. That kind of sums up everything you need to know about how to register your business in California. If you have any comments, concerns, don't forget to leave them below. I go live every Monday through Friday, except for holidays. We'll talk to you later.